In this episode, we will describe online conspiracies as a form of misinformation and show how they are a threat to democracy. We will then look at various ways to stop conspiratorial thinking with a focus on the psychology of science deniers. We have another video which serves as an introduction to conspiracy theories, and we suggest that you view that first as it provides a more general overview. One particularly serious problem in the modern infosphere is the spread of conspiracy theories. These are patently false stories used by bad actors to promote their own agenda. Conspiracism is widespread and widely believed. They are frequently used to incite violence and attack democracy. Older conspiracy theories push the narrative that powerful people control the course of world events. They help to explain occurrences that defy official explanations, often insisting that facts are being withheld by the authorities. They typically provided some sort of evidence, a set of occurrences or quote-unquote dots that are connected by a theory. Modern conspiracy theories are different. There's no evidence, no set of dots, and no theory. In fact, there is no explanation provided, just a bare assertion and some innuendo. These conspiracies seem to be supported by the simple notion that a lot of people already are talking about it, a form of truth through mass gossip. They are also repeated constantly. This new conspiracism is all accusation and no evidence. These conspiracies undermine our sense of truth. They convince people that facts exist simply because they are popular, and they're being used primarily to erode the public's sense of confidence in political parties, the free press, and expert opinion. In other words, they are a form of weaponized words. Furthermore, they are purely negative as they don't offer any constructive alternatives. In the United States, data shows that conspiracies are disseminated and believed primarily within the Republican Party, especially by the far right. These conspiracies are actually non-ideological. They are used mostly to attack the opposition. But they go beyond that, delegitimizing all the institutions that generate shared knowledge. These include congressional committees, government agencies, scientific organizations, health professionals, and the free press. The effect of these distortions on government is palpable. If an outrageous accusation is raised against the state and the state denies it, then there's always the belief that it was denied because they are attempting a cover-up. In this way, the delusion becomes self-supporting. Also, when the conspiracies are coming from the president or from some other authoritative source, then government workers are given a stark choice. They must either serve the president as their job requires, or they can speak out and potentially lose their job. Those that have integrity and quit are then replaced with loyalists who are more likely to do the president's bidding. Conspiracists distrust climate scientists when it comes to such things as global warming and the World Health Organization when it comes to pandemic advice. By denying that truth can be known or disbelieving the institutions that arrive at truth, they are left with opinion, and they conclude that their opinion is just as good as yours. So how do we stop conspiracists? In order to determine the truth, one must either engage in rational debate or use valid techniques like logic or the scientific method. But this approach doesn't work with conspiracists. They will deny that the truth can ever be known. They either don't understand how to get at the truth, or they don't care. They are also unwilling to engage in debate. They are less concerned with validation than they are with social reward. It is almost impossible to disprove a conspiracy to those who believe in them. Any counter evidence provided is just interpreted as part of the cover up, and any absence of evidence just means that the conspiracy is successful. New explanations can always be provided to explain why the debunking is wrong. They are thus impossible to disprove through normal means like logic, reason, and evidence. Conspiracists are often biased. However, there are established ways to reduce bias. Presenting facts in a neutral and non-threatening way helps. Forcing people to articulate alternative viewpoints or cite evidence of a different explanation can also help. One study found the advance warning of bias or false information is useful if it is repeated frequently and a replacement viewpoint is provided. Based on all of this, it is unlikely that facts will convince many science deniers. It would be better to ask questions about why they believe what they do. This might then progress to getting them to form a new identity based on a different set of values. Some research has shown that science deniers respond better to visual evidence like graphs than they do to textual information. Engagement is also key. Getting science deniers to explain their point of view makes it more likely that down the road they will take a more open mind when listening. Face-to-face conversations are probably also better than online interactions, which are more distant and where people can hide behind a persona. Stories are more likely to change people's minds than facts. If one can tell a personal tale that backs up one's point, that can be effective. Another approach is to get them to trust experts and authorities like scientists. One way to approach this is to emphasize scientific consensus on issues like climate change. Lee McIntyre has spent time with science deniers and has some useful insights on how to engage them effectively. At flat earther conferences, he notes that they believe most pictures of Earth from space are fake, that we did not land on the moon, and that NASA, along with millions of others, are part of a conspiracy to cover up the religious fact that the Earth is flat. He states they held a type of nonsensical physics combined with a form of Christian fundamentalism. Many of them question authority, but themselves submit to religious authority. When asked for proof, they often themselves avoid the question and instead ask for proof that the Earth is round. Flat earthers seem to ignore critiques of their arguments and instead just move on and change the subject. McIntyre notes that many of the flat earthers he talked to had suffered some sort of trauma around the time they acquired their false beliefs. In addition, a majority of them were socially isolated. This would explain why they found solace and meaning in conferencing with their fellow conspiratorial thinkers. The conspiracy also allows them to blame others for their own misfortunes. In this way, it is part and parcel of their identity. Changing their mind would require that they change their concept of self. This has been dubbed identity protective cognition. There are a number of reasons why someone might become a conspiracist. It could be a way of dealing with anxiety and loss of control. It is also a way of simplifying belief and is easier than reasoning through a problem. Studies have shown that those who are more likely to be intuitive and emotional are also more likely to be conspiracists. Fear might also be a reason why science deniers hold their beliefs. In one study, it was found that conservatives showed more activity in their amygdala than liberals when confronted with a challenging idea. We fear what we don't know or what we can't understand when it comes to topics like climate change and terrorism. However, liberals can also deny science when it threatens their beliefs on issues like genetic engineering and nuclear power. Thank you for your attention. This wraps up our series on disinformation. If you find this subject interesting, we refer you to our other videos in this playlist, which include introductions to the concept of disinformation, truth decay, and ways to recognize and fight against them.